Yo guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a review talking about something that probably normally wouldn't talk about, but I thought it was interesting enough and I wanted to make some content. If you guys, you might be able to notice I am sick right now, so I apologize if my voice is kind of screwed up or might sound nasally at some point. It's probably going to have to do quite a few cuts because might be coughing or sneezing or something, but yeah, I just wanted to put some content out there. So yeah, we're gonna be reviewing Pacific Rim the Black. Obviously, I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard of Pacific Rim, movie about giant robots fighting kaiju, so pretty cool. Mecha being controlled by the inside, Power Rangers, sort of, Evangelion, that sort of genre, I guess. Something similar, but also, pretty different. And then it was 2 movies, so the second movie was pretty terrible, but they ended up making, I guess, an animated series. I mean, I say I guess, but I watched all of it. Like a weird sort of CG animated series on Netflix. So that's what I'm here to talk about today. Pretty interesting, and yeah, I'll get into my review right now. So you might be asking, why would I even watch this show? I mean, out of everything that's out right now, all of the anime that I haven't seen or haven't finished yet, why would I spend the time to watch this show? The reason being, honestly, my girlfriend, she loves Pacific Rim and like kaiju stuff, so and she's a big fan of the show, so she had told me about it, and I figured, if I watch it with her, I mean, if she's such a big fan of it, I bet there's not a lot of people who would have a conversation, at least like in real life, about this series. So I thought it would be interesting to see what's up with it, because I did enjoy the Pacific Rim movie, the first one at least, and I'm always kind of talking about it, comparing it to like Kaiju number 8, which of course, one of my favorite currently releasing series in Shonen Jump right now. Also, she has read Kaiju number 8 too, which I mean, there's nothing more to say, just banger status. Anyway, yeah, figured I'd give this a shot, see what it's about, and see why she was hyping it up so much. And yeah, I watched it all. It's 2 seasons, 7 episodes each. So I mean, there's only 14 episodes. It wasn't gonna kill me to spend a whole bunch of time watching a whole series. And I don't think they're making a 3rd season. They pretty much wrapped it up by the end. So yeah, so what is Pacific Rim the Black? Basically, it follows 2 main characters, Haley and Taylor, who are brother and sister, and basically the world goes to crap because kaiju take over the earth, and they initiate this, like, protocol, I guess, called the Black, and I guess it takes place in Australia, because the whole show they're trying to get to Sydney for a reason I'll explain here in a minute. But their parents are like Jaeger pilots, and the Jaegers are like the giant robots. Their parents leave them behind and say, we're gonna come back for you. Years later, they never come back, and they end up stumbling upon this training Jaeger that was deep underground, and they're able to pilot it, and so, this whole thing happens. They activate this Jaeger, and it starts attracting a bunch of kaiju to this safe haven, and it kills all of their friends that they've been living with for years, and all the people of this area. So now, they have no reason to stay. They've got this Jaeger, and so they go out to go in search of their parents. So this leads them to like a headquarters area where they're just like the secret lab, and they find this boy who's like a test subject, and they name him Boy. So he's with them. He's like a mute, kind of reminds me a little bit of like 11 from Stranger Things sort of vibe. So yeah, There's a lot of mystery surrounding this kid. For, he's got some crazy abilities that I'll talk about here in a little bit. They end up meeting this dude named Shane. He's a total D-bag, but his like pseudo daughter is like a assassin hitman kind of deal, I guess. Her name is May, and she ends up joining them at some point. So they end up learning that their parents might have ended up at this Sydney base, like military base. So that's why the entire show, they're trying to make their way to Sydney, but Shane does some stuff where he tries to take over their Jaeger and enslaves them at one point, and then May has like what's the word I'm looking for? Contradicting feelings about the whole situation, because Shane, who's basically her father, is a real douchebag and is just gonna kill them if he doesn't need them anymore. But he requires them to keep the Jaeger working for right now, I guess. So it's this whole situation, but May is trying to do what's right. Everything really starts to come together, though, in the end of the first season when they escape Shane's grasp with May. She joins them temporarily because they learn that obviously that he is not her real dad, but there may have been more malicious intent involved and ulterior motives about how maybe he didn't just find her, about how he may have kidnapped her as a child, or and how her memories were erased, this whole thing. So she doesn't really trust him anymore, so they end up escaping him. Also, not to mention, he kills like her best friend in front of her, so that might have something to do with it. But they end up in this city where they find their parents' old Jaeger, but it's like destroyed. They find a video clip of them saying, we're gonna escape, we're abandoning ship, pretty much. So they, get hope, that their parents are still out there somewhere. But they also meet this giant, at some point, I can't remember the events like in order, but they do meet this giant kaiju Jaeger hybrid named Apex, who honestly is like probably the best character. Maybe, I don't know, there's a few characters. A lot of the characters in the show, I will say, are not likable, just pretty annoying, but Apex, goated character, Chad energy all around. Apex ends up having this connection with the child, and they're like, why are they having this special bond if they're able to like communicate telepathically, kinda. So it's just like this little kid who's a mute, doesn't say anything, and is just reaching out to like this giant robot monster, and they have some sort of bond, sort of like a, reminded me of like an Iron Giant kind of thing. In the season finale, this is where the show takes a bit of a turning point for me. I kind of saw this coming to begin with, because there was just so much mystery around the character of Boy, and he had that weird connection with Apex, so you kind of like figure out what's going to happen. But in the season finale, they get into some trouble. They fight with this giant kaiju, and Boy transforms into a kaiju and just goes ham in order to protect Haley at some point, because they have she is like a big sister to him, kinda, or like a mother figure. So like in order to protect her, he turns into this kaiju and just goes berserk. So a lot is revealed about him as a character. And in the end, they end up beating this kaiju, which brings up a different problem that I do have with the show. And I feel like they just reuse the same kaiju over and over again. I wish they would make more original kaiju. Like every time they got into an encounter, it's a different type of kaiju. But like every time I feel like they're fighting the same monster every single time, except like in the final battle at the end of the second season, or specific instances where it like really matters. But otherwise, they're just fighting generic kaiju, and it's the same one pretty much every time. So I wish that there was more variety and uniqueness to all of the kaiju that they face, because it just feels like there should be. Then we get into season 2, and I do believe that season 2 is 100% better than season 1, because the way season 1 ended, we're granted all of this awesome stuff, boy turning into a kaiju, the information about the character's parents, stuff with May and Shane, or Mai or May. I still don't know exactly how to pronounce her name. I might say it either way throughout the video. I don't know. But now we're just left with why, and sort of more questions than we had to begin with. And also there's the introduction of this like sisterhood cult sort of thing that try and kidnap Boy because they believe him to be like a kaiju messiah, like alien Jesus kind of thing. So that was pretty cool. And they've got like this, like, almost reminds me of like a marionette mask sort of kind of thing, like bleeding eyes and stuff. And like, I say marionette, I mean like if you've ever played Five Nights at Freddy's, like the marionette, that's kind of what that reminded me of. It's super metal though, like they're like kaiju infused ladies, but they're like super weird and culty, and they wear robes and masks and stuff. It's really awesome. I did like that a lot. I did feel that they were underutilized throughout the second season though, but one of the biggest plot twists is that their mom is actually one of the sisters, but she has been like brainwashed and like is like a weird kaiju infused being lady. And then they have to, in this second season, Shane ends up sacrificing himself to drift with the mom to like bring her back, which kind of like, I'll get into it in a minute, but I think Shane was an excellent bad guy, but like this just sudden, his change of heart felt too sudden because we didn't see him on screen often enough. Like every time we saw him on screen, he was just a bad guy, stone cold, just shooting people because I have no use for them anymore. Like, excellent, just one of those stone cold bad guys. And then all of a sudden he just sort of has like this change of heart, and it felt uncharacteristic. I think that it could have worked had they given him more time, and I think that's a lot of where this show struggles, is 2 seasons with 14 episodes. We need more time, which, I mean, then again, Netflix, we've had Castlevania, one of my favorite shows, just in general, very few episodes. In 4 seasons, it's like 20 episodes or less, if I remember correctly. So, like, and that was fantastic. But I guess the plot, I don't know. They could have done a lot more for this series had they be given enough time, or just more content. I would have liked to see. It definitely felt kind of rushed, which is why we end up with stuff like Shane's sudden change of heart, which threw me off guard when I was watching it. During the second season, Taylor ends up trading Boy over to the sisters for safe passage without Haley's knowing, and so they're kind of fighting the whole time. And then they basically have to sneak into the sisters' hideout to do a rescue mission, and they get caught, sort of, and it's like this huge battle towards the end of the second season. There is quite a bit that I glanced over in my review for the second season, because I don't think it's that important. Like, there's a whole part about this amputee old guy with like who's like a kaiju tamer. It doesn't matter. They're working with their mom to sneak in. They break in, rescue Boy, and in the end they have this battle. I forgot to mention, I think it might be after they rescue him, I can't remember, but Boy, they've been doing like these culty rituals and stuff, and he's under like some sort of trance and they can't get him to calm down. He ends up like trying to kill Haley and Taylor inside the Jaeger, and then my boy Apex shows up to try and stop him, and Apex is just getting wrecked, and it's not until Apex actually dies, yes, Apex dies, that Boy sort of comes to his senses and like they calm him down. And that is one of the big things that I did not like. Apex died too early because of a big reason I'll get to right now, actually, and that is in the finale. They're on their way. They're right so close to the Sydney base. They found their mom already. Spoiler alert, their mom ends up dying, so basically the whole thing became pointless. I guess I can't remember exactly what happened. I guess she just took too much damage during a fight. Maybe, I can't remember, but she dies. So I guess maybe it's more so like a peace of mind for the kids kind of thing, but pretty much like their sacrifices for her, Shane's sacrifice to try and get her back, meant nothing because she died anyway within like 2 episodes. So, what was that about? But they're on their way to the Sydney base, and they fight against a Category 6 kaiju, which is just a big old boy. And it's just rocking the Jaeger. I think it was Atlas. Their Jaeger is just getting wrecked by this massive kaiju. It forces the AI, who's probably my favorite character, by the way, her name's Loa, to, eject them out of the Jaeger and self-destruct the kaiju, to sacrifice herself to, save the day. They end up killing a bunch of these cult ladies. My boy is a straight up Chad, like straight up G. Like there was a part, the beginning of the second season, there's like these kaiju dog things. This dude just shoves his hand into the kaiju and just like rips out, like, it would have, they didn't show it. It would have been cool if he like did a Mortal Kombat and like ripped out its heart, but like just shoved his arm straight into it and just ripped it out, and his hand was like covered in blue blood. It was really awesome, and he does that again at the end here. He fights. He doesn't really fight. He just sort of kills the leader of the sisters, and then she just falls over and dies immediately. And again, that's another point that sort of coincides with, I think, that the sisters were underutilized. Their leader sort of seemed more hyped up. I thought it was going to be like a more sinister villain, but she just died from like one hit. Like, what? So anyway, but it's during like this final battle against this Category 6 kaiju that I had the problem with Apex dying earlier in the season. Apex's death should have absolutely been saved for this moment. Loa shouldn't have had to sacrifice herself because Boy, straight up killed Apex. That was whack. Apex should have sacrificed himself in the final battle and been given like an awesome death. That would have been dope. Like if Atlas, Destroyer, the main character's Jaeger, teamed up with like Apex and tag teamed this giant kaiju, that would have been dope. And Apex could have sacrificed himself there. That would have been dope fight, awesome ending to the series. But Loba just sacrifices herself, and now they're left without a Jaeger. Not that it hardly matters, I guess, because in the end they're reunited with their dad at the base. So it's kind of whatever, and everything is wrapped up. But there are, problems that I have with the ending and stuff that happens throughout the series. As you guys can see, there was a very large break in between the last time you see me and see me now. Ended up getting a really bad headache and going to sleep. So anyway, I'm back. I'm still sick, but I'm feeling better right now. So I'm gonna finish up this video. Overall, my overall thoughts with this series, like, it's a CGI anime. There is some like kind of cringe moments, which definitely bring it down. I know a lot of people don't like CG anime, and I don't either. I think it's really bad, especially like Berserk 2016 is probably one of the most disrespectful things that I've ever seen. Like, what the heck? Also, Ajin. I saw that they had made an Ajin anime, and I was pretty excited because I've heard Ajin, the manga, is really good, and I looked on Netflix and was disappointed to find that it was CG. So I'm not a fan of CG anime by any means, and that was definitely a big hurdle for me watching through Pacific Rim the Black. So that definitely brings it down quite a bit. But honestly, if you can like sort of get past it, I really like the story that it's trying to tell. I just think kaiju and like mecha, I'm not too big into mecha, like, Voltron or whatever, what's it called? Gundam. Not too big into that kind of stuff, but I do think it's pretty cool. So kaiju is something that I do really like. Pretty interesting stuff. So yeah, Pacific Rim the Black was a pretty solid like story. The mystery elements were interesting. Also, at some points, pretty predictable. But it was just a fun series for me, and also it gave me something to bond with my girlfriend on. So I did like that. If they ever made another season, I'd probably watch it because it would be short. But I think, they wrapped it all up pretty much at the end of the second season, so I don't think they are making another season. Yeah, overall, probably, it's not something I'd rate highly at all. I'd probably give it like 6 out of 10, maybe 5 out of 10. Between 5 and 6 out of 10 series. Not great, not good. I'd probably not recommend it to many people. If you're really into kaiju, then like maybe I'd recommend it to you. It's not for everybody. And yeah, I had fun with it for the most part. But yeah, definitely, if you're like a diehard anime fan and like a anime/manga elitist, then yeah, you're gonna hate it. But I didn't think it was terrible. It was just, it was okay. Anyways, guys, I hope you did enjoy the review. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate it. We're at like 75 subs now, so that's kind of crazy. Almost at the 100 goal, which I set out to do over my entire high school career. So kind of crazy that we've already almost completed it. Yeah, so let's try and get to 100 subs. That would just be insane. I do plan on doing some more content here in the near future. I have some ideas. Of course, the JJK review coming soon. I know. No, I haven't finished reading it. I know I've done pretty bad on it, but since I've been at home sick today is day 2 of me being home. I read a volume yesterday. Should have read more. Plan on reading hopefully at least 2 volumes today. So yeah, we're gonna get through that here soon, and I'll put out the review. But I also really want to do an updated manga collection, because the last one I did was all the way back in December, and that was like paired with a manga haul. So my Christmas manga haul it was. And we've just gotten so much manga since then, and of course, the manga risers also. So And in the Manga Risers video, you guys didn't really get a good look at the whole collection because I kind of wanted to save that for doing another manga collection video. So I think I might do, a spring 22 or 2022 collection video. Let me know what you guys think about that. I've had some people ask me, like, yo, are you doing another manga collection video? I think I've had like 2 or 3 people actually ask me that. So yeah, it's something that I do plan on doing here in the near future, because I know that this summer is probably going to be crazy for pickups. And this month, we already have a banger haul set up. Last month wasn't too crazy, but this month actually, like, kind of went off the rails so far. Got a bunch of orders that should be coming in. In fact, have like 2 orders that should be coming in today, so I just reminded myself of that. Anyway, more content coming soon, so stay tuned. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next piece.